Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. How are you, my lovely, dear, and gorgeous students? I hope you all are doing well at your home. Dear students, it has been a long time to meet in science class. So today, once again, I welcome you in Pakistan International School TAI's virtual learning system for science. In this, we will move to a wonderful journey of the science. So let's get started. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. As you know, this is Pakistan International School TAI, and this is its virtual learning class for science, and you are welcome in this journey of science. This is for grade 6 students, and we will continue from the previous system, a previous spell of the science. So this is lecture number 19, which is a continuation of the previous term spell, because we are not starting our like the new book, the same book, and in that we will start chapter number 8, that is energy and its forms. I think you all were missing your wonderful and interesting subject, isn't it? Okay, so so let's go to the new topic of this chapter, that is kinetic and potential energy. I hope you all have studied lots of things about energy. Here we will discuss basics of energy and its forms. This chapter will help you in the next classes also, because it will come in every class, but with lots of different details and informations and explanations also. So what do you know about energy? Yes, if we just talk about energy, energy is the ability to do work. You have studied up to this one, I think so. So energy is the ability to do work, but from where the ability comes, definitely the ultimate source of energy on the earth is the sun. But except this, we will talk about some different topics also, like what we will study in this chapter. We will study about energy and some different forms of energy. Then we'll talk about main types of energies, kinetic and potential energy, its forms, and how one form of energy is converted into another form. Then we will see how it dissipates in the environment. Dissipate means it disappears in the environment. How the energy is conserved, how it can be saved. Some important energy uh, energies and energy converters, like in our surroundings we use those energy converters, as well as we will see some sources of energy, non-renewable and renewable resources, and we will see how the energy is stored in human body and how it is transferred in an environment. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful, Rabbi Shrah li Sadri wa Yassir li Amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. So let's get started. Energy is the ability to do work. This is the main definition of energy. Main definition of energy, like we need something to do our work. We need some power, we need some ability, by which we can do our work properly. So energy's main definition is energy is the ability to do work. Okay, so energy is having different forms, like you have seen surrounding around you, that is light, heat, chemical energies. Like what energies are these, from where they come, we'll talk about in so first of all, we will see the two main types of energy forms, that is kinetic energy and potential energy. Okay, so potential energy. Potential energy is the energy that is stored in an object due to change in its position. Like it is the energy when the things are in the rest, like the non-living things or the living things which are placed at their positions, they don't have any type of energy. But when we change their position from one place to another, and we are just not moving, actually we are holding, and we just change their place from lower to upper position, so some type of energy is stored in that. So that is called potential energy. That is also written PE, both are capital. P means potential, E means energy. So it's examples, but the examples you can understand this form very, very clearly. So first example, when we stretch a rubber band or lift a stone to some height, energy is stored in these objects. So the energy which is stored in that, that is potential energy. For example, you are stretching a rubber band, and when just you leave that, it will fall down, or it will move uh, for some distance. So the potential energy is stored in that. That's why it can do work. Like that, if we lift a stone, now if we lift a stone for some height, and then we throw it, so it can have the energy, stored energy in that, that is called potential energy. Okay, so we will see the examples. Like if you stretch, you can see here the rubber band like this. So look, it will move forward, and the same thing is applied in bow and arrow situation. Like this is the rubber band elastic which is pulled, and then we put like we leave this arrow, and it will move towards its target. When it is stretched back, its potential energy is stored in that. When it is moving, it is another energy, that is kinetic energy. We'll talk about in a few minutes. Okay, so when we are holding a stone or a ball from down to uplifting at some heights, potential energy stored in that. When you leave this ball or the stone, then it will work, it will move, or it will just hurt somebody, or it will make a hole in the ground. And this is the same example when the stone is like moved up at some height. When it will fall, it will make drastic effect, or it can destroy something. We'll see some other examples of potential energy. Like a brick on the ground cannot do any work, but when we raise the same brick, energy is stored in it. Definitely, if it is down, like lying on the ground, it does not work, and does not work. But when we move it further, or we just hold it some height, so it can break anything which is on which we throw that. So number next is wound up spring of a toy car is potential energy. So this energy can cause the toy car to move. Now we are having electric cars or battery cars, but some years ago we were having the wound up spring car, in which the key was there outside of their body, and we just rotate the key, and spring rotates, and then that wound of spring are get tensed, and uh, it will coiled more and more, and then it stores chemical sorry potential energy in that. So when we leave the try, then the try moves on the ground. You can see here, this is the key. When we rotate it, here is a spring inside it. Spring is rotated, and there is potential energy stored in that when we leave it. So the toy is like you can see the toy moves with the help of this energy. When the move, that is kinetic energy. Like potential energy changes into kinetic energy, that is energy converter. We will talk about in a few minutes. So when we put a stone in a sling of a catapult, have you seen the catapult? Like that is in bow and arrow, or like غُلَيل we say in Urdu, but catapult, we put a stone in that, and we put the sling, pull the sling of that. The potential energy is stored in that. Or sometimes we just sling, or we say rubber band, we pull that. That is the same example which we have seen before. You can see here an angry bird is moving by, this is a catapult, and this is sling or rubber band. When it moves back, it is stretched, then it will work, and the things or the stone move forward. There is another example of potential energy, that the hands of the mechanical watch move due to the potential energy stored in the spring. You can see here there is a coil. Okay, so mechanical watch is the same in that we are having what we say, we are having the key outside that, and when we move the key, this coil is rotated and potential energy stored in that. By that, these wheels, or these are called gears, they move, and then this is the key. When we rotate that, that is out of the watch, and this hole is inside the watch. When we rotate this, so it will store potential energy in the spring. So when the coil moves slowly, so the potential energy changes into kinetic energy, and this minute hand and this hour hand moves in the watch. Okay, what are different forms of potential energy? We have to just see that potential energy is not only one type, it is having different forms. That is around you, and you have maybe you have noticed before, but you forget that all about now. Actually, the science is the subject which is all your life, all of your surrounding things, whether there is energy, whether this is you also, and like everything which is around you, that is related to science. So you have to observe the things keenly when you move in your life, when you go through your life. So, okay, the first form of potential energy, that is chemical energy. Yes, chemical energy is a form of potential energy. It is stored in food. Like you can see what type of food we eat. The body converts that chemical energy into energy for growth, warmth, and movement. Like your body is having some temperature, which comes from the working of the cells and of the whole processes in the body, as well as that energy used for growing you up, as well as for your movement and daily work. So that chemical energy which is stored in the food, that comes from definitely solar energy, because it grows on the plants. So plants take solar energy and do photosynthesis, and then these type of food we get from that, and then we eat, and that chemical energy that changes into our body into different forms of energies. So there is the chemical energy in the batteries, cells, which we use in our clocks, in our toys, in our like mobiles and laptops. Everywhere the batteries are used in different forms. So there is chemical energy which is changed into different forms of energy. And fuels also, like there is coal by which we do, that is called, I think so, farm, like on which we do barbecue. That is the coal. When we burn that coal, so that we can cook anything on that. And that coal, petrol and natural gas, these are all used in different industries, factories also, to do the mechanical work, to run the factories. And petrol we use in the cars, in like airplanes, in everywhere, to give the energy to start and run our vehicles. And there is a natural gas. Natural gas is also comes from under the ground, that is and that is also used at homes, like in the stove, to cook the food in cylinders. Okay, so that food, fuels, these are called coal, petrol, and natural gas. They are called fuel, as well as batteries. They release chemical energy as a result of chemical reactions. Okay, now we will see stored mechanical energy. Mechanical means the energy to work something, to do something like action. So that is the energy stored in the objects by the application of force. Like we apply some force, and then the mechanical energy, uh, like actually that is stored in that, so that we can say the stored potential energy or stored mechanical energy. When we just work on that, then they like it will change into the mechanical energy. For example, compressed springs, springs and stretched rubber bands, as we have seen in the catapult or bow and arrow. So when, like, that is also the potential energy. When we stretch that, you can see this is a compress of the springs, and now this is stretch of the springs. So now you can do it. It does the work, isn't it? So that is called mechanical energy. Other forms of energy, in that gravitational energy is very, very important. That gravity comes from the earth, like the energy which the earth attracts towards itself. So that is stored in an object, in every object, due to its height. When it is moved towards height, like the earth attracts, the gravity attracts that object more. So um, it is stored more gravitational energy in the that object. When we raise a brick up to some height, it possesses gravitational energy. That's why when we drop anything, it will move towards the earth. It will not go up in the sky. So you can see here there is a fire in a building. So the person moves very high on the building, and then it jumps over that. And like when it will move more and more high, Earth will attract more forcefully, and then definitely it will have more distraction as compared to it is on the ground. Then we are having another very important form of energy, that is called nuclear energy. That is also potential energy. That is stored. They all are stored energies in the body. So that is the energy stored in the nucleus of an atom. You know, atom. Yes, the smallest undivisible um, a particle of a matter. So that is called an atom. An atom is having electron, proton, and neutron. So that atom is having lots of energy in it, that is stored until it does work. So what happened when the nucleus of an atom splits? Because nucleus is having proton and neutron both. So when the nucleus of an atom splits, means it breaks up, lots of energy is released from that. That's why you can see in this picture that like changes into heat and sound, as well as this pollution like energy, smoke, and due to this lots of destruction can be done. That's why atomic bomb, hydrogen bombs, they are very, very lethal and very, very destructive for human beings. Okay, here is some question or some activities you can do at your home. Like if you place some sort of little chalks on the ground, or some sort of like pieces of small stones on that, and you take a break and raise it at the high and drop it on the chalk. So what will happen? Think about that. Yes, definitely the chalk pieces will break into smaller pieces. So that is the effect of this potential energy, that when we just raise something at some height, it is potential energy is stored in that. Okay, so the raised brick is able to do work because it possesses potential energy. So I hope you understood this topic, because that was very, very interesting and definitely related to your life. Now we will move on to kinetic energy. Definitely, potential energy is changed into kinetic energy. So let's talk about our next form of energy, that is kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is the energy due to its motion of anything, due to its motion. So like anything which is in the movement, that is having kinetic energy. A moving bus, running tap water possesses kinetic energy. So it is written as K, E, both are capital. That is from K for kinetic, E for energy. So actually the kinetic energy depends on the mass of the object. Mass, how much bigger and how much amount of matter in it, or you can say the weight, so, and its speed. So if a train has more kinetic energy than a car, definitely car cannot win by if we compare car and train. So a train is having more kinetic energy, more speed, and more mass, definitely. So, but if they are running at the same speed, okay, at the same speed, so which will have more kinetic energy? Definitely the train. The world is full of movement around you. If you see lots of things, which any type of thing which is in the movement, that is having kinetic energy. So for example, the moving air, wind, that is having kinetic energy, so it can move lots of leaves and twigs. Another, the flowing water from the river or anywhere, that is also having kinetic energy. Like anything which is movement, like they can create floods and cyclones and lots of, we can say, um, destructions due to having more kinetic energy in that. Okay, so that is, yes, okay, the next one is the forms of kinetic energy. So if we see the different forms of kinetic energy, like potential energy, that is also having the form of energy like that is traveling, that is moving from one place of another. Definitely the first is heat energy. So heat is also a form of energy, and the movement of particles within the substance. When we heat up an object, particles move and glide faster. Heat can move from one place to another. Heat cooks our food. It changes solids into liquids and liquids into vapors. The sun is the major source of heat for us. So there is lots of particles moving. There are lots of bombardment in that. So by bombardment, of different type of gases, so these particles released out at the reach on our earth. So the movement of that particles that just causes heat and light on the ground, on the earth and other planets. So one of the best example is when we cook our food, we just put any type of pot on the heat. So from heat, not only the base or the particles which are at the base of the pot that is heated up, but our whole food just cooked. And sometimes when we boil the water, it changes into gas form or vapors form. So like the movement of the energy from particles to particles, that is called heat energy, and it travels. That's why it is the form of kinetic energy. Now we'll see the light energy. That is also definitely a form of kinetic energy. So again, the sun is the major source of light for us. So light helps everything to live, especially for plants, because plants do photosynthesis with the help of light. Some calculators which uses light energy to just change, to work, to calculate. So that solar energy that also do some work in the calculator. And again, the light passes through the lens of the camera, just to the film to make any type of movie or video. So this is artificial energy. So you can see this is an artificial way of light, but that is also kinetic energy. Okay, so now we will see some other forms of kinetic energy. So that is electrical energy, but which is also very, very important. So that is the movement of electric charges. As you know that when electrons move, so electric current is passed. So that movement of electrons is called electrical energy or electric current. So that is done by the movement of electrons. Okay, many appliances at home like fan, light, laptop, mobile, and when we charge the battery, as well as fridges, washing machine, lots of things we use for this purpose. You can see here iron and everything we use in this way. Okay, so that is, and the next one is sound energy. Sound is definitely is also the form of energy. So sound energy produced by the vibrating body, anything when it vibrates. In the next chapters, inshallah, we will also see the sound as a form of energy. So we'll see them in detail. So the sound energy causes the pieces of a paper to move when we just place them on the drum or stereo deck. So when we move or when we talk and when the sound is produced, it means something is vibrating. That's where the sound is produced. When we talk, we are having vibration on our throat. When you put your finger on your throat, then you feel some vibrations are coming by the movement of the air through your body. So the sound is produced. So sound is also the form of energy. You can see here one of the form of kinetic energy, that is electrical energy, electrostatic energy. And then now we will see the beating of the drum is also produces some sound, and that creates sound energy by the vibrations. Okay, now we will see conversions of different forms of energy, how the energy is converted. So first of all, we'll see when we lift a tricar at the top of the ramp. For example, this is a ramp. Ramp means like an inclined plane, like which comes from up to down, like from here. We do from here like this. This is and the ramp like structure. So that is when we let it go down, it moves and gains electric energy. So it means when it was high up, there is potential energy stored in there, and when it moves down, it gets kinetic energy and loses potential energy. So one form of energy change into other form. Wood, natural gas, petrol, they are all fuels, and they are having chemical energy. Wood, because plants also having chemical energy in that. So wood is the part, like when we just cut the trees, so that is a wood, and it is having chemical energy. Chemical energy is a stored potential energy. When we burn this, that chemical energy is changed into light and heat like this. Okay, here we can see another conversion of different forms of conversion means conversion, like how we can change from one form to another form of energy. Like when we switch the bulb on, the electric energy changes into light energy. Like you can see when we switch on the bulb, so electric energy from the switch, from the wires, copper wires that just moves towards this lamp filament, and that is enlightened up. So it changes into light energy, and definitely it will also produce some heat. When we eat food, we run, and the chemical energy, which is a stored potential energy, that is changed into which type of energy we have seen previously, also previous examples of potential energy. Yes, that is heat energy, that is mechanical energy, like the working of our body, and in the form of growth. Okay, so we can see in the form of mechanical energy and in the form of heat energy, that potential energy or chemical energy changes into different forms of energy. So mostly potential energy, any form of potential energy changes into any form of kinetic energy. Like here we can just switch on the radio. So what will happen? What is the interconversion energies? Yes, this electrical, and if it is of battery, there is battery, so chemical energy is used into sound energy. Yes, and if it is switched on by the switch plug, so electrical energy changes into sound energy, definitely. So that is what changing of different forms of energy. So I hope, my dear students, you have understood it and you have enjoyed, after a long period of time, your subject science. And I hope this one step of your journey has been successful for you. And no, I think so you will observe your surroundings also, that which type of energy conversions are there and which type of energy we are using, and which are we are having in our surroundings. So um, I hope this is enough for today. Inshallah, we will meet in the next step, in the next station of this journey. Until Allah Hafiz, wish you all the best. Goodbye. Goodbye for tomorrow or for the next lecture, inshallah.